And welcome to Louisville, Kentucky and this Sports Center special honoring Muhammad Ali. We will be with you live all day for the procession, the burial, and the memorial. As you can see, thousands of fans already lining the streets, chanting the name of Louisville's favorite son. Ali, born here in 1942, and the procession will travel by his childhood home you just saw there and end here at Cave Hill Cemetery for a traditional Muslim burial. And then later, the all-inclusiveness of the day comes to a head here at the KFC Yum Center. Some 10,000 tickets given out to the general public. Hannah Storm and Jeremy Schaap here with you all day long for a very special day, 10 years in the planning by the family. And at one point, Muhammad Ali said, well, maybe I'll have this at Yankee Stadium because that's the biggest venue I can think of that fits the most people. But that, of course, was just a blip all along. He wanted to come home to Louisville. His wife, Lonnie, is a native of Louisville, and that all comes to fruition today.
Yeah, I mean, Ali lived in Miami Beach. He lived in Phoenix. He lived in Michigan. He lived in Chicago during his banishment. But he would always come home to Louisville. His parents had a home here. His friends were here, people he had grown up with. And it's a complicated relationship. There were times, of course, when Louisville did not embrace Muhammad Ali, especially when he joined the Nation of Islam, when he changed his name first to Muhammad X, then Muhammad Ali, and even more so a few years later when he refused induction to armed services. And that resentment wasn't confined to the white community, but ultimately he was embraced as a favorite son of this city. And I think the fact that he is back here now to be laid to rest says a lot about that relationship.
Born here as Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. on January 17th, 1942. His childhood home has been restored. It was very important for the family to have this procession today, follow a route and follow places that were important in Muhammad Ali's life. And of course, the Muhammad Ali Center is here today carrying on his great work. So the procession begins at A.D. Porter and Sons Funeral Home. We go through downtown Louisville, pausing at the center, exiting near Beecher Playground, turning on to Muhammad Ali Boulevard over in the West End, and then we travel through the West End. That's the neighborhood where he grew up. We pass the home at 3302 Grand Avenue. Then we head back onto Broadway, a view from Broadway of actually Ali's old high school, Central High, and then the conclusion at Cave Hill Cemetery. This is one of the oldest cemeteries in Louisville where many local luminaries are buried, and that'll be a private ceremony in accordance with Muslim tradition. We have reporters for you all along the parade route. We have Coley Harvey this morning at A.D. Porter and Sons Funeral Home. Marty Smith joins us from the Muhammad Ali Center. You can see all of the remembrances there behind Marty. Michael Eaves is right at that 9th Street exit on the corner near Beecher Park and Muhammad Ali Boulevard, where you can see the crowds already beginning to gather, as they are behind Josina Anderson. She is at the boyhood home of Muhammad Ali. As we now begin this procession, again, that will take 18 miles, 16 limousines, one of them carrying the body of Muhammad Ali, again, which has been prepared according to Muslim tradition and eventually end up at its final resting place at Cave Hill Cemetery. 19 miles of very carefully planned route today through places that were important to Ali's life.
It's quite a moment here as everyone prepares for the procession to make its way by here.
Marty Smith, thank you. As we see the balloons released there as the procession travels down the banks of that aforementioned Ohio River, past the two-story museum that you can see there in the foreground, and the people there waiting. This center to preserve and share the legacy and the ideals of Muhammad Ali, promoting respect, hope, and understanding. And in the day since his death, we've seen so many memorials created outside that center, and Jeremy, even bees swarming across the street in a tree next to the mural of his quote, "Afloat like a butterfly, sting like a bee."
And there were butterflies released the other day as part of a children's tribute to Muhammad Ali at the Performing Arts Center. You know, I think as we continue to consider the life and the legacy of Muhammad Ali, we also have to put into perspective his place in the continuum of African-American sports heroes. Whether you start with Jack Johnson and Joe Louis and Jesse Owens, and now the procession is pausing at the Ali Center.
Again, this was part of the plan, the family, in order to respect and at the same time draw the eyes of the world collectively towards this living and breathing place, emblematic of all that Ali was, the Muhammad Ali Center. They are stopping. And they will continue on briefly, but again, a measure of respect to what we have been talking about, that this is a legacy that is very much alive and very, very relevant today.
You mentioned earlier, Hannah, that he was fearless. And I know that you don't mean that to be in the ring. When I saw Ali at the first time at lunch, he was vibrant and he talked, and he had this little thing he would do with his finger and stick it behind your ears, and he could make that little clicking noise that would kind of stun you. But even in later life, he was unafraid to be out there. He and Lonnie stayed out there.
We want to go back now to Marty Smith. Marty, what was that moment? What was that pause in the procession like?
It was extremely poignant. Everyone was completely focused on the car carrying Ali, and some reporters were out there documenting that. Some law enforcement officials on the lower level from me ran up to the barriers so that they could witness it. Everyone now is cheering as the motorcade makes its way off to 9th Street and Roy Wilkins Avenue. Everyone here is extremely jubilant at the wonderful man that we're celebrating today. The cars making their way by me now, those law enforcement watercraft speeding down the Ohio River to make their way further as well. Very rarely in this business anymore do we get chills. It's 90 degrees out here, and I have them all over my body.
I was at the inauguration of President Obama in 2008. When I stood on the National Mall and looked from the Capitol building back towards the Washington Monument, it felt like all of America was looking back at me. As I look down Muhammad Ali Boulevard right now, and both sides of the streets are lined, same thing with 9th Street, it feels as if all of Louisville is out to watch this moment today. They're here to say thank you and goodbye to their friend, to their neighbor, to their mentor, to their idol, to their icon, and it's just a feeling of celebration. Right now we can see several of the cars from Louisville Police Department make their way down 9th Street. Again, there will be a turn onto Muhammad Ali Boulevard, which starts heading west here in Louisville towards the west end section. About 3.5 miles from this intersection where we're standing, we will get to his home there at 3302 Grand Avenue. But everyone is getting in position. We see just hundreds and thousands of cameras and phones, people documenting this moment for themselves. We see international media, and now here comes the procession through the area.
Yeah, Hannah, guys, this is truly an incredible, incredible scene. You all have been seeing people riding bicycles, running, throwing flowers, blowing kisses onto the hearse, touching the hearse. This has been truly incredible. As I'm talking right now, I'm actually holding up a camera phone myself because I'm trying to record this myself. This is one of those moments where you look out and you see how much these people want to remember this moment. I'm looking up again at the clock tower here in Louisville, right outside of Cave Hill Cemetery here, and it reads 12:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as we see, the hearse of Muhammad Ali at this moment making the turn around the people. Cheers, so many cheers as it turns in.
Holy, thank you. Mervyn Ombudsman is back with us, and Jeremy Schaap. Mervyn, what are your thoughts as you watch this?
It's a replay of a very special day. One that sticks. I've never quite seen Louisville like this before. And that gives me hope.